we would always want to make future, and working in technology, how the future should look like, what are the solutions that should exist in the future is something we as technologists and technology leaders have to take responsibility for it. And I think that came up clearly in the leadership also. It's about building a vision and executing it and making it happen. So how do we know what is the future? The best way to predict the future is actually to invent it or make it. So we make the future. Hence, we'll say the future is going to be like this instead of trying to guess what it is going to be. There are techniques about how you can actually predict the future. So we'll talk about one key technique which is pretty powerful and useful. We found many uses of that. I will talk about how me and Sukumar have applied it in what we have done also.
This is a story about rethinking, redoing, and not choosing the easy way out. It's also a story about welcoming an idea, wherever it might have come from. Workplaces today don't look the way they used to. We're moving around, using our laptops wherever we end up. Horte is an LED lamp that goes wherever your laptop does. But the lamp could have turned out differently if it weren't for the kind of random situations that often bring out the best and most defining ideas.
You understood the scenario. We work with laptops, we need lights. All of you will be know you're working in the light. So they came up with the LED light and they had a PowerPoint as its source. What is the performance under supply here if I use a PowerPoint plug for the power to the LED? Think of it, you're working in an airport or in a low lying thing. What is the problem there? You're sitting in a flight and working on it.
Yeah, plug points will not be available.
Plug points will not be available. Correct. So what is the solution for that?
Charging from laptop.
And specifically, what does that mean?
USB charger.
USB charger. Perfect. Okay, so let's just see what they did.
Defining ideas at IKEA.
We were past that part of the process and had already picked another power plug when a coworker by chance looks by and casually says, "Why aren't you using USB? It's cheaper and more practical."
The idea came from a component engineer who wasn't part of the Horta team.
So we went back to the drawing board and changed it. It was the detail that made all the difference.
And of course the fact that LED bulbs will give off more than 25,000 hours of light. Enjoy your time with Horta.
What they were trying to do is solve a problem of having lights, but they used a old technology to solve the problem. They didn't go inventing something totally new power source like that. They just used the existing USB itself. What is the problems of trying to build something futuristic?
The impacts, we are not sure. I mean, like whether the solution you are building is up to the future, you never know.
Then the other thing will be how predictable is that technology? How will it be adopted? How will it be useful? Those problems are also there. Whether the customer will accept a new technology, maturity of a technology, developer skills, all these are problems in predicting the future. One is, of course, the demand and the requirement. Then it's about implementing it, deploying it, how successful it will be. All those becomes a barrier. So essentially, it is very difficult to know in the future, will I have skills for people? Will the customer be ready to spend and things like that? So this is the usual challenges with future. So actually, we kind of think that what we see, we go back to our famous analogy of bottom of the iceberg and tip of the iceberg. So the tip of the iceberg, when we say future, typically we are only trying to look at the tip. But is future actually a tip or a bottom?
Bottom.
It's a bottom of the iceberg, correct? So we are trying to make the future look like a tip, but we really can't. It is not a tip. The future is always a bottom. However, there are interesting futures which are actually tip. Now, what are those futures, right? So what we define is the future is actually not one, but it is distributed as three different things. There is a near future, past future, and a far future. Now, if we understand this, then it becomes a lot more easier to deal with creating the future. Let's look at what is that. So it actually means that in 1993, a popular technologist, he came out with telling that the future is already here, but it is not evenly distributed. Now, in terms of bandwidth, can you say what this means? It'll be easier for you to say. The future is already here, but it's not evenly distributed.
You mean the broadband being available in the only urban or some pockets?
Correct. Perfect. So as long as if you're looking at urban areas and metros, the future, it's not a future anymore. It's a past. Me getting 100 Gbps is actually a past future for me. But if we go down to a B city or a C town or a village, it is a far future. So essentially for them, that high brand is actually a future for them. So that's what is actually meant. Now, the near future is something like, for example, self-driving cars, where the technology has been demonstrated. It seems to be working, but it's not yet completely proven. So if we take our traffic light model, right? Yeah, it works, but still there is a lot of doubts around it. So near future is a yellow. Far future is red. Give me an example of far future. Let's take bandwidth itself. What's a far future? Elon Musk is the clue. They have actually started registration for something called, I think it's called Star Sky or something. That is basically he's going to launch a bunch of micro satellites which will actually provide bandwidth covering the entire Earth. Now, he has done a space launch vehicle, and then he's building a satellite on top of that, and then using that he's trying to give bandwidth. Now that's far future. There is also another fractal from Hypoha which he's applying. Can you say what that is? What is he trying to draw out? From rocket he's going to satellite, and from satellite he's going to bandwidth. What is he doing? He's doing an MVP loop, definitely. There's another fractal also he's doing. What is the trim tab? When we do a trim tab, what are we doing? We are zooming in. And what is he trying to do with satellite and bandwidth? Right? So he identified that basically the trim tab here is launch vehicle. Now that itself is a big thing. I'm not telling it's small. But then once he's able to launch vehicles into space, now he's zooming out into applications of once I can get into space. So that's just another side point which I want you to understand between zoom in and zoom out. And trim tab is first zoom in and then we do a zoom out. Okay, so far future is something which is red. Why is it? Because it is unpredictable. We don't know whether it will work or not. And that leaves us with the last one, past future. Okay, that's going to be green. Why is past future green?
It's proven.
It is proven. Perfect. Okay. And the interesting thing is, right, if you just look at customers who have deployed cloud, has all the customers have gone to cloud now? All application workloads, has it gone to cloud? Not yet, right?
No.
So if you look at that itself is interesting. Okay. Now, for example, AWS got launched long time back, but then it's still not yet there. So how do we actually identify? We kind of say that the reds are highly risky. The greens are much more easier. They are the past future digital dots. So essentially what we are trying to do is we're doing the pucks, trim tab, and setting up an extreme objective. And the way to make future is to connect past digital dots. So let me give a real life example to you. Now, this is what we did in One Cognizant. As you all know, both me and Sukumar were working on this large project. This is just one example use case. All of you will be familiar with a capital car request, right? Do you have a car request? Like you want a new laptop or a phone or something, you have to raise a request. Easy. Raising a car, is it enjoyable or a painful experience?
Painful.
Painful it is.
Lot of questions.
Lot of things to be entered. Very good. Now that's exactly how the screen also looked like. So obviously it will have too many fields, right? So essentially here there were close to 20 fields that had to be entered before. Now this is what did we do is basically a lot of our screens look like this. So if we apply the past future, we kind of did a data identification and we found out that most of the car requests, when they did the data study, they found that most of it was for laptop, next one was for data cards, and the third one was for data card. So what did we do? We applied both the different fractals in Hypoha. We did a zoom in into the use cases itself, and what we did is created pre-packaged requests for laptop and data card, and what we did is we created something called a quick car. Now this we used a past future. What was that? The existing systems were in a complicated system of records with PeopleSoft. What we did is we used a easy web technology. We used a combination of, at that time it was just jQuery and JavaScript, and we did that, wrote one API on the ERP side, and we kind of made a simple screen like this. It's consider it as a app, mini app which was there. So we did a zoom in and called it quick car, and the most common requests were actually listed like this. Now by doing this, we changed the customer experience. 80% of the consumers need not have to go to the old screen. That means we reduce the workload, we increase customer satisfaction. So here we basically used a past future dot. We didn't have to reinvent the ERP, revamp the entire ERP like that. So you use a combination of zoom in and use a past future dot to change the customer experience. Now, if 80% of the customers are happy, obviously the customer satisfaction of the software goes through the roof, which is what we experienced. Okay, so that's how we actually applied that. So we can use the past digital dots. As we speak, vision, machine learning, all that has become past. Identifying the different parts here, it basically took some 10 lines of code with the existing thing, and the output, as you can see, it's also able to identify a motorcycle. Now, in a restaurant scenario, there is a hologram based solution that was actually invented to look how the menu looks like or the food item looks like. Now that was actually tough. So an organization came up with a solution like this, which is basically they could give a 3D view of how the food looks like. Now this gives us a proper idea of whether we want to order it, what we want to order. Now, when you see the technology solution like this, what would it be? Past future, near future, or far future?
Near future.
It's near future, right? Yeah, it is possible, but hologram technology, cost, everything included becomes a tougher thing. So what is it that we could possibly do? We can come up with something which is a
To
past
see a
future.
dish on your table is a reality, augmented reality.
Okay, so what is the past future here? So in this case, what they did is they used a past future.
It's better
digital
than a
dot,
photo.
which is
The
basically
entire
they
range
use
of
their
food
own
that you
mobile
see
phone
in Menu
and actually
AR
use
is a
VR,
three-dimensional image of the
virtual
real
reality
dishes.
to
You
or
can see the
augmented
texture of the
reality
products,
to
their
look at how
ingredients
it
and
is. So
size.
this becomes even more attainable. So instead of going for a near future, I actually go for a
Point the
past
camera
future.
at the table
So
and
VR
see the
AR
desired
are very
order
much
in front of
stable
you.
and we know exactly how to use
So
it.
real,
this is
you wish
another
to have
way
it
in which
immediately.
we can tackle the future making issue. Okay, so in a nutshell, pick a customer journey, identify the intention. All of you are kind of familiar with this. Go back to your trim tab and connect a past future digital dot instead of a near future or a far future. By doing this, we'll actually develop a futuristic solution. The one cognizant there was done with a very old technology, but for the employees, it was a real future definition.